You're listening to the Extraordinary Everyday Podcast with Wendy Johnson, episode number 18.
Welcome to the Extraordinary Everyday Podcast, where women come to be inspired and motivated to become the best version of themselves and elevate the quality of their everyday. Now, here's your host, certified life coach, Wendy Johnson.
Hello there, friends. How are you? I'm doing great, and I am excited to introduce you to this episode about making peace with your past. This is one of the most important pieces of work that I've done for myself, is to make peace with my past. And I want to share with you what I've learned. But first, I want to talk about the difference between life coaching and therapy, because there's a significant difference. A life coach is focused on your present and your future, and a therapist is focused on your past. And therapy is intended to help people recover from emotional or other psychological disorders such as depression or anxiety. And I have been through therapy. Was in my early 20s, and I needed to rehash my past. Coaching, on the other hand, is intended to help normal, healthy individuals achieve personal goals such as increased happiness, weight loss, and improved work-life balance. And a life coach gives direction, improves performance, develops potential, focuses on exploring solutions and achieving results, and helps a client with what they want and how they can get there. And a therapist is working with a client who's emotionally unwell and needs healing, focuses on the past, driven by unresolved issues and feelings, and works to achieve understanding and emotional healing, and explores the root of the problems and offers explanation. And they often ask, how did that make you feel? And the similarity between working with a life coach and a therapist is both are building trust and rapport and actively listening and using communication skills. What I've learned over the years is I don't agree with rehashing the past. I think the past is over and done. And if you're struggling to come to terms with your past, even after therapy, maybe something traumatic happened recently or way back when in your childhood, then I want you to know that you can change the way you think about your past. And the reasons why is the past is over and it no longer exists. And the only way it exists now is from a thought in your mind. All you have is right now, this moment, and the past is over and the future is in your imagination. So the past is a story you're telling. So if you were to tell me that what happened to you as a child, you're going to tell me your version of the story. And your mom, dad, or siblings or friends may have a different story of what happened. There's the facts about what happened, and then there's the fiction. And those are the opinions that we've attached ourselves to with what the facts were, what happened. And we all have old wounds and pain from the past. And I hear often people say, you may say you feel them today, the same pain, but I want you to know that the feelings you had then and the feelings you have now are not the same. The feelings you have now are the feelings you've created from the thoughts you're thinking. You're not experiencing pain from your past because the past is over. So when you think about your story from the past, you may have a similar pain, but it's not the pain you had then. It's a new pain that you're feeling from your current thinking now. The person who did something to you then can't affect you now. The only way they can affect you now is if you have a current thought about them now. And that's great news, to know that this person has no power over you now. The only way the past defines you now is how you choose to think about it. It's what you choose to focus on. So let's look back at your life and see all the horrible things that happened. And then let's look back at your life and see all the wonderful things that happened. So I am asking you to go through your life and make a case for everything wonderful that happened and tell the story of all the wonderful things. And then notice, once you do this, how are you feeling now that you're thinking about all the wonderful things and telling a wonderful story? Notice that difference between the horrible and the wonderful. So it's how you choose to tell your story of your past that matters. And it's what you focus on that matters, because it creates different thoughts and you have different feelings and you will do and act differently. And all of us know a person who has described themselves as a victim. I have considered myself a victim in the past. This person may have been abused, lost their parents, lived in foster care. They may have been victimized in so many ways. This victim story continues into their adulthood because of what they're currently thinking and how they're thinking about that story. They're focusing on the awful things that didn't work in their life. This is how I have found peace and freedom from my past, is choosing to think that everything is meant to happen exactly the way it's supposed to in order for me to have the life I have now. This thought alone gives me peace of mind. So let me repeat it. I have found peace and freedom in my mind from my past because I choose to think that everything is meant to happen exactly the way it's supposed to in order for me to have the life I have now. And you can borrow that thought. When I believe that, I am living my truest, most important life. And I'm not wishing for things to be different than they are now. I can focus on all the awful things that happened to me, and I can feel angry and upset. Or I can look at my life and see how what happened required me to be brave, independent, strong, and self-sufficient. This empowers me. I am better and more extraordinary today for that thought, for everything I've overcome. And I was challenged to discover this self-inquiry for years. And I've always been into self-help and my mental and emotional well-being, improving it, investing in myself and how I believe about things and think about things. And I have to believe that all the things that I thought should have happened didn't, because the people in my life were only doing the best they could at the time. And yes, I wish I had that perfect childhood and had an easier life. But then why would I have wanted that? I wouldn't be the extraordinary woman I am today. I am who I am today because of the life I lived. When you think about your past from your high school years, your parents, how they raised you, your first boyfriend or last husband, what are you focusing on? The horrible things or the wonderful things? And did you know that you can take from your past what you want and leave the rest behind? It's your past and it's over. And the only past you have is what's in your mind. You get to decide how you're going to think about it. You get to decide how you're going to feel about it. You get to decide if it was an experience that shaped your destiny or whether something was wrong and you were wronged. There's no pain in your past that can affect you now. The only pain you have now is the pain that you're creating in this moment. And the only emotion you can feel now is the emotion you're creating in your thoughts. And believing and knowing that has given me peace and freedom in my mind to know that what happened when I was 4 years old, when I was in high school, when I lost something that I thought would someday be mine, when my boyfriend cheated on me, when I got divorced, I get to choose what I focus on in all of those moments. And I love what I learned from Byron Katie when she says, when you argue with your past, you're going to lose only 100% of the time. When I argue about the way things went down in my past, I remember what Byron Katie says. How do you know it was supposed to happen that way? Because it did, because it happened that way, and it couldn't have been any other way. I love that. What happens when you argue with your past? When you argue with your past, you lose. That's how it went down. There's nothing you can do about it. And as soon as you remember that, it will set you free and give you peace of mind. Arguing with it, I never win, and I feel awful now. So how do you make peace with your past? And how do you want to feel about your past? How do you want to use your past to make you stronger, happier, and braver? And I like to know that my past has shaped who I am today. When I think about it, I feel strong and brave and so courageous. And I kept moving forward even during the painful times. And I didn't let myself remain the victim. I want you to look at your past. How do you want to use it today? Your past is yours in your mind, and you can do what you want with it. Take from it what you want and leave the rest behind. You get to decide if you're going to be the hero of your journey or the victim. And people I've worked with have been repeating the same old painful stories over and over. And I have asked them if it's serving them now to be doing this. It's completely optional to be chained to stories from your past. And often when I'm coaching clients, I ask them to write a new story and go look for evidence that they're strong and worthy and courageous. So I dare you to rewrite and tell the story that serves you, that will empower you, inspire you, and energize you, and then leave the rest behind, all that stuff that you don't want to bring into your future. You don't have to take any part of it into your brain now, today. You can leave it all behind. If you find yourself thinking about it, ask yourself why. What are your thoughts and why are you thinking them? This isn't a one-time deal. This is something that's going to come up. There are going to be things that happen that trigger these old thoughts because maybe you've been thinking these old thoughts for a long time, but you get to decide what you want in your present and in your future. You own it and all the thoughts that you're going to have. And the best news is you get to leave the rest behind. It's over and done and has no power over you now. You can release it forever. You can't change what happened to you, but you can change what it means to you now. And this is the biggest work that I have done for myself to give me that peace of mind, that I know I can change how I think about things, and the things inside of me changes and reflects it back to me in a more powering life. And my two favorite quotes from Wayne Dyer: change the way you see things, and the things you will see change. And the second one, if you don't make peace with your past, it will keep showing up in your present. So I want to end with a title for your past. And how do you see the title of your past? And sum it up in one sentence. And I'll give you mine. I choose to define myself as I am the strong woman I am today because my past happened the way it was supposed to happen. This is deep stuff, guys, but this is going to help you release you from any old wounds and stories that you're holding on to. And I appreciate you being here. Please hop on over to Apple and give me a like and a comment. I would love to hear from you. And until next week, I hope you have a beautiful one, friends. Thank you. Hey, if you enjoy listening to this podcast, you have to come check out More You, my community of like-minded women. We show up to create the highest version of ourselves and elevate the quality of our everyday along the way. Head over to ontracklifecoaching.com/join. That's ontraclifecoaching.com/join. I'd love to see you in there. And if you haven't grabbed your copy of the Mindset Makeover, head over to ontracklifecoaching.com/makeover and get a copy that teaches and inspires you to show up as your most extraordinary self.